For decades, speed has defined military supremacy. Stealth jets, electronic warfare, and precision missiles once guaranteed dominance, but the battlefield has changed. Air defense systems now track aircraft faster than ever. Radars reach farther, and anti-access strategies are tightening across the Indo-Pacific. In this new reality, stealth alone isn't enough. Speed at the edge of space is the new currency of power, and the United States has just fired a shot that echoes across the globe. America's latest hypersonic breakthrough has not only stunned defense analysts, but has pushed the nation ahead in a race where milliseconds define survival and victory. The program leading this charge is the long-range hypersonic weapon, better known by its ominous name, Dark Eagle. Dark Eagle, the weapon designed to outrun the future. Dark Eagle is unlike anything the US has fielded before. Rather than arcing like a traditional ballistic missile or cruising like a jet, it climbs to the edge of space and glides along the atmosphere's upper boundary at blistering velocity. At speeds beyond Mach 5, and in moments potentially far faster, it can cross nations before alarms finish sounding. What sets Dark Eagle apart is not only its speed, but its maneuverability. Instead of flying in a predictable curve, it shifts altitude, angles, and direction mid-flight, creating a trajectory so unpredictable that even advanced missile defenses struggle to track, let alone intercept it. With a strike range of around 2,700 kilometers, it can hit critical targets deep within contested regions, from command bunkers to missile silos, radar hubs, and hardened naval bases. By flying in the atmospheric no man's land, too high for conventional interceptors and too low for space defenses, Dark Eagle changes the calculation for any adversary. It is not merely a piece of battlefield hardware, it is a strategic warning that tomorrow's wars won't be won by who sees first, but by who moves fastest. Delays, doubts, and determination. Hypersonic programs rarely follow smooth timelines, and Dark Eagle proved no exception. When the Army announced its hypersonic ambitions, critics quickly argued that China and Russia were moving faster. A 2022 launch was postponed at the last moment due to technical issues, feeding headlines that questioned whether the US was falling behind. The following year, a battery malfunction forced another delay. For observers unfamiliar with weapons development, these setbacks appeared to confirm doubts. Yet inside secure facilities, engineers continued iterating, redesigning, and retesting. Hypersonics are unforgiving. Temperatures skyrocket, electronics must survive extreme forces, and guidance systems operate in fluid, unpredictable physics. Failure isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that the technology is being pushed toward its limits. By 2024, the system not only proved itself in test conditions, but entered real military training events. The transition from prototype to deployable weapon is never loud. It happens quietly. And then suddenly, the world realizes the bar has shifted. With Dark Eagle now moving into real operational posture, the whispers about America lagging in hypersonics have turned into a very different sound. One of urgency among rival powers, a strategic reveal in Australia. The United States chose Australia, not a domestic base, for Dark Eagle's most important public moment. During the massive multinational exercise Talisman Sabre 2025, American forces rolled the hypersonic system into Australia's Northern Territory, a region that looks directly across the Indo-Pacific toward contested waters and rising tensions. It was a decision loaded with meaning. Deploying a cutting-edge strike system overseas signals readiness, commitment, and operational maturity. It also demonstrates that the United States can place long-range hypersonic power precisely where deterrence is needed most. The system didn't arrive quietly. It moved with military convoys, integrated with Australian command networks, and trained alongside allies from nearly 20 nations. It wasn't fired. It didn't need to be. The message was unmistakable. The US has a hypersonic system ready to fight, and it can deploy anywhere on Earth. An alliance shifts into high gear. Australia's embrace of the deployment marked a deeper strategic realignment. The Indo-Pacific is no longer a theoretical flashpoint. It is the world's most strategically tense region, home to disputed sea lanes, competing military buildups, and rival visions of security. By hosting Dark Eagle, Australia signaled it will not stand passively in that contest. It trusts the alliance with the United States enough to integrate the world's most sensitive emerging weapon system into joint operations. This shift wasn't just about missiles. It was about data links, command protocols, satellite communications, logistics chains, and live fire scenario rehearsals. Hypersonics require more than platforms. They require timing, intelligence fusion, and rapid execution. In Australia, the US proved it can fight a hypersonic war in coalition, not isolation. That may be the most important capability of all. Beijing watches and responds. China's reaction was swift. State-aligned commentators argued that Australia was allowing itself to become a platform for US power projection, attempting to frame the deployment as a loss of sovereignty rather than a strategic partnership. Yet behind the rhetoric, something else was visible: concern. Beijing understands that hypersonic systems narrow the window in which power can be exerted. A missile that arrives before a commander can think changes war planning dramatically. China's own hypersonic parade displays were about prestige and intimidation. America's deployment was about operational readiness. These are different messages. One says, "Look what we built." The other says, "We can use it." That distinction will shape strategy in Asia for years. New rules for warfare. Introducing hypersonic weapons into real deployments forces militaries to rethink everything from command speed to early warning systems. What happens when time to react shrinks from minutes to seconds? What systems need to be hardened? What communication networks must never jam or lag? Exercises in Australia answered those questions in real time. Troops practiced rapid relocation, secure positioning, and coordination with space-based targeting systems. They treated the weapon not as a novelty, but as a combat tool integrated into the wider sensor and strike ecosystem. The future battlefield will not give second chances. Hypersonics compress time, and nations that cannot think fast will not survive long. America just practiced thinking at Mach speed. The air war evolves, the F-22's second life. The arrival of hypersonics did not replace air power, it transformed it. While Dark Eagle proves itself on land, the US Air Force is sharpening the talons of its most iconic fighter, the F-22 Raptor. Once the symbol of air dominance, the Raptor now enters a new chapter. Not retired but reborn through upgrades that turn it into a hunter designed for stealth-on-stealth combat. Infrared defensive systems give pilots earlier threat detection without relying solely on radar. External fuel tanks shaped for stealth increase range across oceanic battlefields. New sensors and data-sharing tools allow the Raptor to hunt Chinese J-20s and future Russian stealth jets even in contested electronic environments. The world's most feared jet is adapting so it remains what it always was, a ghost with teeth. The 6th generation Shadow. Meanwhile, a successor waits in the wings. The aircraft unofficially referenced as the F-47, part of the next generation air dominance program. This fighter is not simply a jet, but a node in a digital battle web, commanding swarms of autonomous drones, digesting battlefield data, and striking before enemies know they are seen. Boeing leads major parts of the effort, even as the company grapples with industrial strain, workforce challenges, and intense scrutiny after recent aviation controversies. Yet, despite turbulence, the Pentagon has strengthened funding, refusing to allow production or development momentum to slip. The future jet will be sleeker, faster, quieter, and smarter. Equipped for electronic warfare, AI-driven targeting, and battlefield control across space, air, cyber, and sea. In the race to the 6th generation, delay is danger, and Washington is signaling it will not accept hesitations. If you enjoyed this deep dive into cutting-edge military technology and the strategic shifts shaping our world, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.